Welcome to the Market Frontlines. I'm Lyndsay Malchuk. Today, we're not tiptoeing around numbers or softening those headlines. We're talking Almonty Industries. Now, this is a company taking on China's grip on tungsten. Mike dropping a surprise press release about snapping up strategic U.S. assets and getting ready to fire up one of the world's highest grade mines. This is high stakes, it's global, and the kind of story that makes governments, defense contractors, and investors stand up and pay attention. Back with me is the man at the eye of the storm, Mr. Lewis Black, CEO of Almonty, the guy everyone in mining and defense circles either wants to be a partner with or is watching like a hawk. So Lewis, welcome back. Wow, mic drop for sure. When the world was over looking to the left, you went boom and snuck up stage right. Well played.
Well, with that sort of introduction, I'm feeling a little bit, off tilt somewhat. It's quite a big build up and it's quite a lot to live up to. But I think I'm not trying to pay attention as to what's going on with this deal or that deal. We have a job, we have to execute, and ultimately it made sense for a number of reasons to begin, as we'd said before, to onshore into the U.S. So,
well, let's jump into that further then. Let's keep going. I mean, Montana, everybody's talking about it. And most acquisitions like this, they fizzle. But not you. You're actually stepping into a market that screams risk and opportunity, actually. So what's the real story behind this? How does Montana move the needle for Almonty? And how are you making sure it creates momentum, just like your Sangdong one?
Well, firstly, we've got a file on every project in the US, and we looked at the ones we liked the most, and then we kind of whittled it down. And we've known this team, the family that's owned this mine since 2017. So we're comfortable with it. It's Union Carbide's old mine, good mining jurisdiction, good people, lots of mining contractors. It has water rights. The family built a plant there. They were going to process garnets, but that means they have a plant permit. So we have a lot of advantages for speed. It's true, the U.S. is an expensive place to operate, but this is, I think it's important to start bringing our technology into country. And I think don't underestimate what 136 years of doing the same thing has given us. And this technology hasn't been seen in the US ever. I mean, it's in fact outside of our operations, it's not been seen. Hence why we can make mines with low grade profitable, and we can build the former world's largest tungsten mine pretty much unsupervised. And why coming into Montana made sense for us. But onshoring, it gives us also a certain how do I put this? A certain legitimacy of being a US company, also having a US site.
Well put. Well, then let's switch from that land grab to cold, hard cash. You have a shelf prospectus on deck right now, which means you could actually raise capital anytime. And not but, because I hate the word but. As we know, this sector can crush investors with dilution fears. So, Lewis, where's your line in the sand? When do you hit the gas and when do you slam the brakes to protect shareholders?
Well, the shelf was done for a 25-month period. So it wasn't like we're going to do this next week, sort of thing. We weren't going to say, let's do, the number in the next few days. It was to prepare for the future. If we needed to do converts, warrants, all these wonderful instruments, it was about planning. And I think ultimately, one thing you have to remember is that no one is more sensitive to dilution than me, because I'm the second largest shareholder with my own money. And so I'm very aware of what I'm willing to give up and what I'm not. So I try and tell everybody in the company, if you have to spend $1 going from A to B, you got to give me $2 of value. That's really the metric that we try and work on. If you're going to spend money on things that you can't measure, like, for instance, unit cost, but things in SG&A and travel and all these things, you have to show me how that makes value. So the same applies to working with banks, raises, and all these things. If you can show me how I can actually increase value, then I'll do it. Otherwise, I don't do it. And dilution is just another one of those components that I measure in the same way.
So good. And love the fact that, you are so invested in that too. It really actually puts a new level on importance. You're not just another CEO. Let's talk about production numbers. Sangdong has been the promise for years. Now, Louis, you're killing me. So many people ask us about this. What's actually standing in the way of production? And if that timeline...
Nothing's standing in the way.
Nothing.
Calm down. Everybody just take a deep breath.
Here we go.
This is the
Take a deep
biggest
breath.
construction in tungsten since the early 70s when they built Mittersill in Austria. This, when it opens, will be the second largest processing plant, tonnage-wise, throughput plant on the planet. It's built on the side of a mountain in a non-mining jurisdiction. It's just, take it easy. We had to transition a mine that was conceived and built in the 20th century and bring it into the 21st century under the Equator Principles. So the fact is, the mine underground is done. We've been very clear about that. That's finished. The plant now is being essentially finished off. But the bulk of everything is in place. We stress test everything. We inch test everything. The same way that I didn't race to the finish line 3 years ago is the same thing here. I'm running my pilot plant 7 days a week, 24 hours a day with fresh ore. Because up until now, I had ore on the surface. It was a little oxidized. Now I'm getting real data. So we can do little tweaks as we're installing, as we're adjusting. I know everyone's very excited. So am I. But you see there's gray here. There's gray here, and there's a little bit of gray right about there. And that is being caused by everyone saying, what about the mine? I know, we all want it open, but the good news is demand isn't getting less and prices are not dropping. So if I look at it this way, I'm still opening in an incredible environment that I never planned was going to happen. But we are well advanced. I know if it says 60 days, it's shortly. It's ultimately, every time I put a date on it, I get trouble from my own guys. And I don't want anyone racing now on site to meet a deadline and make a mistake. And then when everything gets cranked up in unison, things start dropping off. I mean, to give you an example, we found the adhesives we're using for all of the liners in the mills was a month out of date. So they rang up, the manufacturer said it's fine. But no, I'm not going to use it because if that adhesive fails, then, of course, I've got the problem of having to strip the entire mill. So I know everybody wants to open. I want to open. It's opening, but it's not like a supermarket. We don't put a ribbon, cut a thing, and press a button, the lights come on. Every section now is being stress tested. Be calm, relax, deep breath, and have confidence that it's my money.
Well, I do like the fact that you have so much experience, so many years of experience that you understand, even the story of the turtle and the hare. It's not just a race to the finish line. There are so many aspects to that. Thank you for that clarification.
Do you know how much money you can lose in a mine? It's a giant hole. It's like standing under a cold shower ripping up $100 bills if you get it wrong. We walk to the finish line. Because that way we mitigate our risk. And that's the business I'm in because I have millions of dollars of my own money on the line here. If I'm right and this thing cranks as it's expected, I'm going to make a huge amount of money, as will all my shareholders. But I'm certainly not going to race to say, oh, look what I've done. And then I say, oh, well, I've got to shut down for 2 months because I know the liners fell out of the mills. No.
Yeah,
we are almost
absolutely.
there. This is the moment just to be cool, relax, we're there.
So close, so close. Okay, speaking of live assets then, Panasqueira in Portugal has been part of your portfolio for years. It's beautiful there and the community is amazing there. And many investors also see it as a cash flow generator. But what's your real plan for this asset? I mean, is there expansion or modernization or just a steady state production?
No. We will talk shortly in the market about commencing drilling for the level 4, for the mine plan for level 4. We are going to expand. We're going to open up level 4. There's a great deal of demand for this material. I mean, it is the most expensive tungsten on the planet. It's 25% above market. Demand is obviously very strong. And so it makes sense for us. We don't need extra permits. We have plenty of waste capacity. We have, no more infrastructure required on surface. This is literally just opening up. It's actually the 5th. We call it level 4, but it's actually the 5th level because we have 0, 1, 2, 3 already. So we had about, 12 years, 13 years left in level 4 and level 3, and this will give us another 20 something years in level 4. So we'll be going at it for some time. But no, we've decided that just to move ahead. And I think we have that ability to do so. And of course, therefore, my grade increases in Panascara. These levels always have a higher grade at the start. And so I'll pass the same tonnage, and of course, my production will increase about, I think,
Love that.
40%.
Wow. And that's the growth you're expecting in the next 12 to 24 months there?
Once level 4 is open, yes, we expect it because the grade is higher. No more tonnage, it's just the grade. It's a grade thing. And you've been there, you've seen it.
I have.
It's a well-oiled machine.
I was about to say the same thing.
And
a well-oiled machine for sure.
And the reality is that we're very fortunate in that our knowledge is encapsulated in there. And every day they demonstrate with the grade they have to work with, which is a low grade for a tungsten mine, especially an underground mine, they can still make money. And that is something I say to anyone looking to invest in tungsten. You must have direct knowledge and experience in tungsten, not in another metal, not as, I'm gold, I'm tin, I'm copper. Won't help you. You must have direct, actual, relevant experience in tungsten if you want to support that project. The management must have that knowledge.
And that's the thing is your management team and, actually your entire team there, we saw firsthand, they are knowledgeable, they work together, they're very strong. I mean, there's really nothing more that you could ask for. That is a perfect site, really.
Well, no, but I mean, we don't have a huge C-suite. I mean, I am looking for a COO to give me a bit of a hand, but we don't believe in being top heavy. We keep, people focused and disciplined. And, we have no turnover of people. So we essentially, we only know how to do tungsten and we do it very well.
Yeah.
Yes. Lots of some of our competitors always like to take strips out of us, but I take that as a compliment.
Okay.
But I think ultimately it's very important. You must know how to mine and process tungsten. Otherwise, you will fail.
So good. I love the explanation and I love the confidence in what you do too. I'm going to actually now flip this over, Louis, and bring in the elephant of the room. China, that's where we're going. China dominates tungsten, and they've made it clear they can manipulate markets to their advantage. So let's be blunt here. What happens if they now try to crush Almonty with a flood of supply or a price war? Do you have the margins, the scale, and the political backing to survive and thrive no matter what?
Well, it's actually China, Russia, and North Korea are the three countries that control 90% of the market or output. We have hard floors on our contracts and no caps on the upside. So we can withstand and still actually, eke out a $10, $12 million a year free cash flow from that hard floor. But to be honest, China doesn't have that kind of material left to play with anymore. There's a reason why they reduced they reduced and then finally last year cut their subsidies. It was because they're trying to encourage free market practices in their minds to preserve their resources. When you have a subsidy, you don't manage a resource very well. Free market, you have to manage it well. And I've said this before to other people that we are at least a decade ahead of the Chinese mines in efficiencies. We've had to stay in the free market the whole time. Thick or thin, we develop technologies and innovations. You've seen it firsthand in Portugal. So I think China doesn't have that kind of muscle or juice anymore. They also have supply issues. It's scarce in the West. It's scarce in China. It's scarce in Russia. The only advantage they have is they have human capital. They have people who know how to mine tungsten. Even though the technology they're using is born out of the 50s, it's not terribly advanced, but they have experience in the West, really outside of us. And of course, Mittersill in Austria, there's none. It's splatterings.
Well, that puts you in a great position then. Louis, this was such a fearless and straight to the point conversation. Thank you always for coming on the show and chatting, and I definitely look forward to our next one.
Thanks very much, Lyndsay. Thanks for having me.
Again, that was Louis Black, CEO of Almonty Industries. If you're serious about being on the right side of critical minerals, here's where you act. NASDAQ, ALM, TSX, AII, Frankfurt Stock Exchange, ALI1. And their website is almonty.com. No fluff, no excuses, just real assets, real strategy, and a front row seat to one of the most audacious plays in mining today. I'm Lyndsay Malchuk with Abaton Media, right here on the Market Frontlines. We'll see you next time.